Hey, that's good. That recording is in progress. Okay, so hello everyone. My name is Leonard, and I will talk today. I will try. Maybe I will try to teach you if you want. Actually, you can do it with me. I will post the link to the files I will be using today in our chat. So if you are interested, you can download it on your machine, and you can try to follow what I will do here. So today's topic is Power Query and user functions in Power Query. So I added more tasks to to today's meetup because in the beginning, right now, before the class, I thought to myself that it's too easy. So let's add something more. So maybe because I think the part that that I wanted to show is too short, because the user functions are actually very simple. So and it's easy to grasp. So that maybe I will add something more. Well, let's see whether I was right or wrong. Okay. It's nice to see your black faces. That's good. If you would like to switch on your camera, I would be very grateful, because it's very hard to talk with this black screen. But okay, just remember that. Yeah, thank you very much. Yes, yes. One face. One face, one more face. Very good. Okay, no, don't want. Remember that if you are now cooking something, that's normal. It's the COVID times, and COVID times, you can participate in a meeting and bath your child, and there is no problem with that. So please do that also while you are watching this video, this meetup. Okay, so let me show you today's plan. Okay. So you have two folders available for you: more data and products sold. And the idea behind those those folders, is that to emulate a real life situation. It's a training data, but still we can use it as a very good approximation how the real life looks like. Okay, so we have here one folder, product sold. We will start with this. We will explore what we can do with Power Query here. And what we have here is a very simple process. I would say I have seen this a lot in different companies with different managers. So what they are trying to do with this file, they are trying to store some kind of a process that they're managing. And in the end, when they need to aggregate this process, they realize that they did everything wrong, and basically the way how they stored the information and data was very wrong. Okay, so what we see here is a very simple structure that, again, from my experience, I have seen in a lot of companies in real life. It looks like a pivot table, because that's the way how I generated it, but the logic here is a very simple one, and how it is used in this company. Okay, so I will add here freeze panes option. So the idea is very simple. When there is a new day for this particular manager, what he is doing, he is just adding a new set of columns to the right of the table that he is creating. So here he types 2nd of February 2021, and then just copies the product names like that, and that's basically it. So what he does next, he just records whether some of his employees sold some products in a specific region. So if Lucis Maris sold dime string in the region of East. So he just types here number 5 items, and so on. So here Kreislich Marix sold 7 fax finds, so he just stores like that, and he thinks it's a very good idea. So it's actually a normal approach that someone creates in Excel a structured something. It's not a table, it's not a report, it's something in the middle, and then he just adds to it either basically new columns each period, because he needs it to look like this, because that's how this company used to do that before him, and probably will do after he dies. And so where is the problem? Problem is that we need to aggregate it. In the end, our main manager would like to see what is the total amount sold. And for that, we have a problem, because we created a big file with a lot of columns. It's unreadable. And if we would like to aggregate it, it means that I have to create either some very sophisticated, not sophisticated, but long and not dynamic formulas after each column, then aggregate. So it's a mess. And also the biggest problem is that actually we are not alone in this. There are other managers who are doing the same thing, and we would like to see the whole picture for whole company. So that's where Power Query steps in, and we will try to build a solution that will be able to clean up this data and extract all the information that we need in a very clean way. In the end, we got a table, and from that table, we will be able to create whatever report we like. So that is our plan. Good enough? Any ideas how to do that? Will you talk with me today? Yes or no?
No.
Oh, I see.
On average?
On average, no, right? Okay, but Oleg wrote something in the chat, so yes, you see, I knew it. It's my biggest problem in life, actually, that when I'm teaching in university, it's very hard to explain students why someone would do those awful things that I just showed, and only when you were in real life you understand it. Okay, now the next part is up to you. You can do it either in Excel or you can do it in Power BI, because the Power Query part is similar there. And we are not in this particular meetup, we are not discussing the ways how you can access your data. So we are not talking about SharePoints or whatever. We are just concentrating on this problem in hand. So I will use Excel. It will be easier right now. So I will just create a new file here, and I will call it my query. Okay, and this will work. This is my first meetup. This is my first lecture in this semester. So from this is after my in Excel after my vacation. So if there's a very good chance that Excel added some functionalities that I don't know. For example, yesterday I found this cool thing. Have you seen it? Pivot table from Power BI. Just blowed my mind. So I can connect to all the reports, all the models I have in the cloud, and build pivot table here with all the measures and all the stuff. I did not see that coming, actually. And yesterday I was like, wow. No, it means that there will be something more to it. But okay, so let's start. I will go from, let's see, chat. I will go and use from folder this time. Okay, why? Because I would like to create a plus minus dynamic solution, and in this folder project sold, I can add more files, and after doing that, I would like to expect that my Power Query will be able to aggregate as many files as I want. So I go here from file, from folder, and I extract everything from my, that does not look good, from my folder. Okay, very good. I have a very long path. I have a very long path, so I will copy it here. So not to go through it. Product sold. Open. Now, what I like about Power Query is that it's not built only for some very clean data, but actually, if you are creative enough, you can manage to clean and transform whatever mess. Okay, it was always there. You just didn't have a button in Excel. The button only existed in Power BI Cloud. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Now it's in Excel. It's like here, in the tip of my fingers. Okay, so. Let's go there, transform data, and let's try to figure out how to do that. Now, what is the user function in Power Query? It's a way how you can create loops in Power Query. So repeated operations that you need to perform over very similar set of data. So if we look in our setup right now, what you will see there that's actually the case for us. We have 3 files that are fairly similar with their structure, but
I was just trying to check with other participants while you are talking if anyone tried to access those files.
You should download them. There should be an option download on your machine and then use it. But since no one is talking, no one is also trying to.
I maybe was first. Go ahead, we'll see.
Okay, yeah. So again, so since those 3 files are fairly similar with their structure, the only difference is mainly the content, when and who sold what. So we can create a unified solution that will extract this data from every file separately. So clean the first file, then clean the second file, clean the third file, and when all of this is done, only then we can append those tables one on another and create one long table where you have all the entries for all the files. So I will call this query. I will call this query buffer query because that's what it is. It's not something that will do all the thing in just first step. I just go there, I take the data, and then I will transform it later in some different ways. Okay, so what I do next, and what you see here, it's just my approach to it. I always start with buffer query. I'm not using standard connectors like file from Excel and whatever, just because I can. But we can do the same with this file and Excel workbook. So what I would like to do first, I would like to learn how to transform one file from all that mess into one clean table. Okay, and before I do that, close and load to, only create connection. I would like to just give you some ideas where to start. Okay, so before I can proceed here with all the transformation, I have to figure out how many columns, sorry, I will have in my final table. So by looking at this data, I have to just, for me to visualize somewhere, either on a sheet of paper or just type in a blank Excel, just for me, how many columns I will have in my final table, so there is something that I can go to when I'm transforming the data. So if we look at this data here, so can you tell me, maybe someone, I don't know, I'm just hoping for your participation, how many columns I will have and what will be the names of those columns? So what kind of data we can extract from this awful file?
5 or 6.
5 or 6. Okay, so let's start with 5. What will be the columns in that table?
Region, probably.
Okay, region, employee. I see it in the chat. Date. Okay, quantity. And there should be one more.
Product.
Yeah, there should be a product. That's right. And what would be the 6th one? Because I counted 5.
Date. Date was.
Date there. Yeah. There is a new voice. Hello. Thank you very much for joining us. So that's all. Okay, as you see, so that's where we are going. There is one game, sorry, that's my life problems. There is one game, that I like to use when I try to explain how I forgot it. Okay, then don't worry. It was just some visualization. So there was that game in my childhood. I don't know whether you had this game or not.
Marta says you need underscores there. PQ underscore spell. He apparently knows what you are talking about.
Yeah, it looks like he was on my classes. So don't listen to him because he knows all the answers. That's not interesting. Okay, that's the game. I'm correct? Just watching screen. Okay, so this is the game that I like to compare with Power Query. So how this game is played, in my childhood it was just a plastic box with 15 squares in it. Now it's a screen, but the idea is very simple. You know the final result. That's the final result. It's all the numbers from 1 till 15 in a row. But you start with this. You start with all messed up, but you know the final result. You know where you would like to go. So you know the structure. That's why it was very important to figure out how many columns we will have. Because next step is a very simple step-by-step procedure where you just change one thing at a time. It's impossible to do it with the one big jump. You do it step by step. You don't worry about this problem that you would like to do something in the one step. No, it's a very simple movements like this. And when you are done, you are done. This will take some time, so I will not bother finish this, but idea here stays as I said. Okay, it's very important for you to understand that in Power Query sometimes your solution will need several steps, several of tens of steps, but it's not a problem, because in the end you will be able to come up to your final structure 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and till the end. In our case, we have this awfulness here, but what we would like to do, we would like to move from here to here. As many steps as we needed, it's not a problem, but again, as I did in this game, each next movement should be a step closer to your final result. Okay, so let's try it. Let's try to do this. So I go back to my buffer query. And what I do next here, I will learn how to transform this first file. So what I do here, I start with duplicate for the beginning. Okay, and I will rename this one file like that. And what I do next, I just choose whichever I want. It's not important which one. I start with January, and this will open for me first table, and it has only one data here, so I will open it also. And that's my first thing that I see here. So what I do next, after realizing that my life sucks because everything here is very, very bad, I just try to do it one at a time. So what would be my first step? What I will start to clean here to get closer to my final result. So what could be your proposition? What we can start with? What we can do here? Obviously, I cannot use this data. I cannot append all my files. So what would be the first step?
Like remove the first couple of rows, perhaps.
How many?
Count to 9-ish, roughly, as then we can discuss how far exactly, but roughly there, where the real data starts.
Do we need the 10th row, and why? How we can check it, whether we need it or not?
Checking in our vision column list, maybe.
So if you look here, you can actually analyze and try to figure out whether you need this column or not, this row or not. And if you look closer here, you see that it's only has this quantity, date, and product name in it. And now this is an important question for everyone, and you should answer that honestly in your own process. But in this case, those words are not specific, now not very important. They are just quantity, date, and product. It's something that I will already know later because I will have the columns. So those names are not specific, and I will not try to save them. I will just delete them because they are messing with my data. I don't need them as they are here. They're just ideas, and those ideas will be later visible in my data as well. So there will be quantity, there will be date, there will be product in columns. So those names I don't know. So I will start with remove rows, and I will remove top rows, and I will do it with 10 first rows. Okay. Now, what will be the next step? Did you know that Power Query teaches us how to live? No, never noticed? In this case, for example, it teaches us that we have to appreciate small things in life. So for example, we have to say thank you because something is already as we would like to have it. It's this column here, it's already there, it's an employee, so we are already having what we need. So this is one column with all the employees. Thank you very much, we are happy. So this is very important to notice because sometimes your data is already there, you don't have to change it. So we have this data here, we don't have to change it. Is there something else? There's also very close to what we need, but still maybe not exactly, but very close.
I think region.
Yeah, regions, that's right, because those nulls here are actually the same east, and if we scroll down, then those nulls here will be north. So this is a very common problem also, because users don't like to type in any columns and every cell, so they just create like this first level and then just empty cells, but they think that it should be the same, or they use merge, the worst button in Excel, and just merge all those columns, all those cells together, and nothing could be done there. But okay, yeah. So what we'll do here, how we will populate this east down, who knows? My second favorite button in Power Query. Do you know it? So On the transform, we will use fill down. That's right, fill down, and this will do the trick. So it will just add those columns here. Very good. Okay, those values in each cell. So now we have two columns that are exactly as we need them. So this is the region, this is an employee. Very good. It's the first step. Let's go next. Can you see the second step? Third step. What else we could do here?
Unpivoted.
Why? Unpivot? Why we need to do unpivot here? You are correct, but 10 minutes.
Not to fill a date, to fill a date. No, fill a date.
You need to fill a date because
Yeah.
date has the same problem as the regions, right? So how we'll do that? How we'll fill the date?
Feel right. Something like
feel
that.
right. Yes, yes. If you live in a fairy tale, there will be a feel right button, but as you may know, Power Query works only with columns. Good. It works with rows, but not as good as with columns. So we have only down or up. Sorry. Slicked.
We can transpose
the
first row to
that's right. We can
column.
So we can just transpose our table on the back. So there's a button for it, transpose. We flip the table. Now we see the same structure as we see previously. Now our region is in the correct position, and dates are not. But you can use fill. Where is my mouse? We can use fill down, and this will do the trick. Right, now it worked. Okay, next problem, and this where the colleague also were correct. Now here we can see a very familiar structure. So if you love Excel, then you know this structure by heart, and this is pivot table structure, right? We have here a criteria, we have here a criteria, and in the middle we have an aggregation. So this is the pivot table, one by one. Okay, and now that's not what we want. We want table, we don't want pivot table. So that's now our job to figure out how to change this. So any ideas how to do that? Any more ideas? If you would be in my class, I would wait for the answer till the end. But you are not in my class, luckily. So let's pretend that you have answered incorrectly at least, and I say, oh, very good idea, but here is the correct one. So there is the unpivot button here available for us, unpivot button, and on purpose I will do it incorrectly in the beginning because I would like to also show you some ideas that you can later use in your life. Since each business process could be slightly different because each company has different approaches to the same problems, there is no one way how you can deal with the problem. But Power Query, I think, gives a very good user interface that allows you to learn from your mistakes. So for example, with unpivot columns, I see unpivot column, unpivot other columns, and unpivot only selected columns. And from that, I will decide to use unpivot other columns. Okay, why I will do that? Because those two columns will always, no matter what is the file, will always be those that I don't have to change, because they will have date and product. But the number of columns to the right could be different because there could be a different number of employees in each file. So it could be shorter or longer, or there could be more regions. So again, it will be longer. So I don't want to count the columns on the right. I just would like to fixate my attention on those two columns that I know will always be here. So this is the first step. And so when I choose unpivot other columns, the next problem happens, and it looks like this. Now, instead of seeing region, employee, and quantity, I see only 2 columns. And this is the part where I would like to emphasize that you can learn from your mistake. This is clearly not what we wanted, but because we have applied steps here and we can switch between 2 steps, we can actually understand without even Googling. Can you imagine that? Without Googling, we can understand what happened. Okay, and if we would have a lot of time, I would give you this opportunity to figure out what happened here. And actually, it's not very difficult task. You would figure out that this Unpivot tool, what it does, it uses slightly different criteria for a column. So in our perception, in our heads, what we saw as column names was this region here. And then we said that this one is another criteria. So when we said Unpivot, what we actually meant that we would like to move this part down to my employee name, to my products and my dates, right? But for Power Query, it's a little bit different. It's not like this. For Power Query, it will use this structure here. This will be the criteria. That will be the criteria. And that means that in the middle, we will have an aggregation. Like that. That's why you have only 2 columns. First column is always will have column 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and whatever. And another column will have the content that is not null. So this will be saved. So this will be saved, and this will not, because it's null, so it will be ignored. So there will be no combination column 3 and beta doneco 1st of January, because it's useless. But there will be a combination. Here, column 3, donlux 4, because there where is the data. So it gives me the answer to the reasons why this happened. Okay, but now I have to figure out how to make this stop, because I don't want it. I want it to work as I intended. So I just I use Unpivot. It unpivots what I need and does not do what I don't want. So do you have any ideas how I can make this work? So Unpivot columns will unpivot only those column names here. So it will not pivot those 2 values, those 2 rows with values. So what I can do to make it work?
Perhaps you could try to combine row 1 and 2 and then make them column headers.
Okay, I can do that. That's right. So I will merge them together, and then I will make them as a column headers, and then I will unpivot them. Now, how to do that? How to merge those 2 rows? So how to merge those 2 rows here? There was an answer to that question previously in this meeting, like 5 minutes ago. There's no way you can merge rows. Thank you for participation. That's good. So there's no way how you can merge them, but we already know what you have to do. We have to transpose and whatever. I will go further here, and I will say that actually there's no difference between which columns you will merge, either those 2 or those 2. The idea will be the same no matter what. So I will just stick with what I have. I will take those 2 columns here. I will merge them together, merge columns here, and I will say that use place separator custom. That's my way of doing this. So I will use this vertical line. Since it's a very strange symbol to appear in the normal text, I will use it here. I'll press OK, and I have 1 column. Now I can transpose it, And now I can use as first row. So where is it? It's here. Use first row as headers. POC. And only now I have the correct setup for my unpivot other columns. Almost good. Now by delimiter, there where my vertical line comes handy. It's a kind of very unique. So I press OK. And my life is pure joy after that, because everything worked. Obviously it worked because it's not my first time that I'm showing this file, but let's say that that's something new, and oh my god, how it's possible. Okay, so it's employee, this will be the date, and this will be the product, and this will be the quantity. Very good, we are done. Actually, we are done, and we can proceed with this next step. So this is the first step. I have created a first iteration of my user function. So I have created a query that is able to transform only one file from the list. So I have tens of thousands of files, so I don't know how many, but I have created one that works for me. So it transforms, it gets rid of unnecessary data and leaves only data that I need. And so what I do next, I will transform this into user function. So I can use it later on my other data, on my other files. But the important part that I will do here, I will proof it. So I will check whether this will work on a different setting, and then I will try to change, if I need, this code so it works on different files. So what I will do here, I will go back to my navigation step, because in that navigation step that's the place where I have chosen a file January. Okay, so what I will do there, I will change it to December or to November. Now, can you have any ideas how I can do that? Do you have any ideas how I can do that? How I can change January file to a December file?
You mean it doesn't work to just type it in there?
Where?
The January, the word January.
That's the file name.
Yeah, so here, instead of January, I will just try December, right? And this will
not work?
No, it's working. It's working, you see?
Okay.
It's finding December, because you are right. Also, let's go a little bit further, because again, as I told you in the description for this class, let's go deeper in code, and let's look at this sentence that Power Query gives us. Okay, let's try to understand what it says. Because I will go even further. I will open this view, and I will go to View Advanced Editor. Don't be afraid, I'm with you. I will help you, even though this looks like this. Don't worry, it will get better in time. So what we see here and what we need to understand, right? How this code works. Each line, you should understand each line as a table. So it's a table that you see on the screen. So this is source. So basically it's this table that you see on the screen. Then there is another name. It's not very pleasant, but still, right? This one. And this is the next step where you see your file. And now how this file is extracted. I will use it. I will change the name for this step to big. I will call it my file. I will not call it. Forget about it. Okay. So how it works? You see, it says look at a table source. It's this one. So look at table source, and then from that source, give me a specific cell value. Since, as you remember, what I did in the beginning, I just clicked on binary. So basically what I said, give me this file, and this code here actually does the trick. So how it works? So in this table, it means that give me the source table. In that source table, please find this this file path name in this column. So basically, what this says is go through those in the content column, find this particular folder path, and open it. I will change this a little bit. I will say not this whole folder path, but actually I will just say 1. So what I did here, I just said, instead of looking for the specific path, just give me the first row in the column content. And that's the same thing for us. Now, can you tell me which row in the Power Query is the first row?
Here.
No, so the correct answer, the first row is the second row. Yeah, and the first row and the 0 row is the first row. So yeah, in Power Query, we start counting from 0. So this is the 0th row, the first one, and the second one. So if I leave like this, it means that I'm choosing this binary. If I want December, I need to place 0 there, and then it means take the 0th one, from the column 0. Now I go to navigation. It worked, but now let's go step by step, because when I go next step, and here I see the first break. All right, this does not work anymore. So this step is not tailored. This step, it means it's tailor-made for the January file, and it cannot be used over any other file. Can you see why? So I were here. That's how it looks like. And then the next step breaks everything. Can you see a reason for that?
It's
The name of sheet.
an item generic.
Yeah. Again, as you see here, right, instead of selecting just whatever you have, it specifically tells us that in a column item, you should choose January, and in column kind, you should choose sheet. And that's impossible. This combination doesn't exist. So we will change this again. We say no. This step here means that in my company, in my process, I have agreed with someone or with me that those files will always have only one sheet. Because this is what I'm doing here. I'm just saying that there will be always one sheet, and please just take it and work with it. Because if not, this step should be redesigned, taking into account your problem, your specific needs of your process. In this case, only one file, only one sheet, because it's easier. Okay, now let's try this, and it will work. You see, it works. Now, remove top rows, this works. Fill down also works. Transpose table works. Fill down works. Do you know the biggest evil in Power Query? What is the biggest evil in Power Query? Automatic change type. If you are creating user functions, this is your main problem. Change type. In this case, when we created promoted headers for our first file, it created a hard-coded version of your column names, and it's a problem for us, right? So we cannot reuse it later. It's good for us that we don't need this change type here, so I will just delete it. But just remember, when you are creating user functions, you would like to change a type, delete change type steps, or whenever it's possible. Or you can disable it in the settings. And that's all. Okay, split column by delimiter worked, change type worked, renamed columns also worked. Okay, now we are done. So now you can go to your navigation step again and again. You can change this to the last file in your list. And when you are done with changing December to November, yeah, you can go to the last step and you will see that it will extract November data and everything will work. Very good. So this is our first step when you create user functions. So what do you do here? You just put together all the steps and you check them whether they are dynamic and they can be applied to other files. The things you have to look for is change type. They are the worst. And sometimes also if you are using too many navigations, if you are clicking too much, that also creates unnecessary results. Okay, so the last step. What I do next actually is not necessary, but I always do that because that's how I just come to do that. So what I start first, I create a duplicate of the same query one file, duplicate, and I rename it and I call it fn, function one file. So what I do next, I go to my advanced editor here and I change this code. You see now it looks better. I change this code into something that actually will work with different files. So how I do that, before the let command here, I create a variable that will be used in this function. So I think to myself, what is the variable that I will pass to this solution? And obviously it will be my binary file with all the data. So I will call it my file. And as you can see here, from the names that I'm using for my files and variables, you can see that I have a brother. That's why I have this issues with mine, not mine, but okay. But this still do the trick. So next step is to understand that this is the part. This is the part. This is the part that I don't need anymore, because I will not use folder. I will use only one file, so I don't need this. And actually, I don't even need this one, because this chooses the file for me. But now I have this variable, so which I will use. So I don't need this. Also, what I need to read this function. I need to understand how it works. Excel workbook is a function that extracts binary file that is in Excel and divides it into the content of that file. So it's sheets, tables, and whatever. So instead of this function here to address this whole big name here, so instead of this, I will be using my file variable.
This is Cam from Agile Limited. Hey, I'm good. How are you?
It was a question?
Not bad at all. Not bad. I'm just ringing to.
Or he was just talking to someone and for some reason switch on the microphone. That's good. It's pleasant. Okay, so this is the last step here. So we have created our function. We press done and everything changes. And that's what we see here. This is our function. This is user defined function. Here we can check it. If you have some file, you can put it here and it will transform it. Why I have this query? It's because if you see it right now here, I don't see the steps. I can see them in the code, and if you can read the code well enough, that's good. But if the reading of the code is difficult and you would like to make some changes, then it's a good idea to have this additional query here. Now, if you are creating if you are creating a simple queries, user queries like this one, you could actually try to use parameters. But I found that parameters are very limited in what they can do, and for very difficult solutions, you will need to come to this manual approach. With parameters, you can create a function for this task, because it's easy to extract the step that you would like to parameterize. But if you would like to create a function that will use table, not binary, but table object, that this parameter approach will be useless for you. That's why I'm showing you the idea of a manual function like this. So the last step is I will go to my buffer query. I will create a reference to it. Again, as I told you, buffer query is something that you don't change. It's your just first query that receives data. And I will call this all data. And this will have all the transformations in it. So what I do next, I say remove other columns. And an add column option, I will say invoke custom function. So invoke custom function. The name, I always use this name, clean data. And one file, and there is the only one possible variable to it. I press OK, magic. And now if you click on those cells here, you will see that they have all the data, okay, from each file, from each month. So I don't need binary anymore. And I can extract this, press OK. And all the files are here. Transform, detect data type. Now we can proceed next. So this is our automatic solution. Now, if I will add a new file, I will press refresh. This will work as long as all the basic rules applies. So the basic rules are the structure of those files is the same, and it only has one file, now one sheet in each file, and that sheet has data. It could have more sheets in the file, also no problem, but only the first sheet will be used for the transformation. Okay, that's the idea here. And now I have 6 minutes. If you don't have any questions, I will add something to this task, and this something will be the manager, the 6th column here. Not here. I would like to extract this name and make it as another column. So I need what I have here and this one, and I have 5 minutes to that. Okay, so what I will do, I will you can do this with another function. You can create this function and use it, but where is the fun for that, right? I will go the long way. So what will be the long way? I will rename this step. I will call it rename, not that. So rename start here. Okay, it's just for me to easier navigate. I go back here and I create a new step for the query. I create a new step and I call it, and I say start here. So what I do here, after I have transformed all the data, I say go back up, give me the beginning. Now what I do here, here I just got this one column, remove other columns, I don't need this. Now I also keep first 4, keep top rows. Okay, first 4, and then keep top rows. Okay, let's do it differently. Remove top rows. Yeah, remove top rows. 3 bumps, almost good. Then split column by delimiter, and this will be my custom colon. That's good. I will delete this one. Here I will say manager. Good. So I have two steps. I have this one where I have all my data that I need, and I have this one where I have the last the manager. So what I do next, I will go and append queries. I will say append query, and what I will do, I will append two queries, and I will append one file. I will append them together, the same one. Press OK. Doing it like this, but you know the trick here, right? This is my renamed columns, that's good, and this is the table that I would like to append one on another, but I don't want renamed columns. Instead, I want renamed columns, not one, but just renamed columns. So I go here, I press enter, and that's what happens. Next step, transform fill down, and last step, get rid of null. Poke, and you are done. So you have added a new column. You have extracted a new column in from your query. So what I do next, I go to View Advanced Editor. 1 minute. Okay, and I will start with fill down. Actually, I don't need it to do it as much, but it's to be easier for me to figure out what I need. So I started from fill down, the first one, fill down. I copied the code. I went back to my fn1 file, advanced editor. And also from fill down, I copied down, Control V, the code again. So I just updated my function. Done. I go to my old data. Yes, that was a bad idea. Sorry. Actually, I should start here, of course. It was very stupid of me not to realize that. Advanced editor. And this one, right? Right, start here, done. Now it's working. Okay, so when I'm back here, now please notice that expanded clean data here previously again did not get this manager to it. Now it has. So I press OK, and I have my managers to it from every file. So that's how this is done. Okay. Do you have any questions?
It looks nice and easy as when you are showing it. I realized I have created one custom function, user function in past, but it's not always that easy when you need it to quickly remember and go through those steps.
It's very easy. You just have to understand where in your query there is that variable part that will change, and then just in quotes in the beginning, in brackets in the beginning, you just define the variable and you add it. This adds a lot of functionality to your ETL. Now you can transform different kind of files that actually are not prepared for that, but if there is a logic, then you can extract it, make the ETL, make the function from it, and use it in your data, in your visualizations. Okay, no questions.
No questions, but a very brilliant session, Leo. Thank you. That was very clearly explained.
Okay, thank you for that. If you have some questions, you can ask. Again, I have a small also advertisement of my students. So I have first-year students in RTU, and we are working with BI. And if your company or maybe you have some ETL problems, you can write to me. And if we will manage the GDPR questions, I can actually give your problem as a task for my students. So we will learn on the real deal, and you will get solution, and they will get this feeling that they did something useful while they are studying. So if you are interested, then just write to me, and we will.
I think that's a very nice and appropriate product placement. Absolutely.
Okay. So thank you for you to be quiet all this hour. Some of you talked. Thank you very much. This meant world for me, because it helps to get to if someone answers on your questions. So
thank you, Leo. You were very good, sharp on time, and very interesting session. Thank you.
Okay, then bye.
Have a good one.